We love cake so much we decided to make it a full-time business. For me, Sammie.
And me, Bronya.
Join us on our journey of discovery as we meet fellow cake professionals, artisan cake makers and home bakers who will give tips and advice on the Business of Cake Making podcast, glitter included.
Follow us on Instagram and listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Sign up to our newsletter and visit the blog at daisycakecompany.co.uk.
Hello. Hi, Bronya. I'm going to start with a little introduction about our guest today. So Bronya and I met Cassie Brown at Cake International at her stand. So it's a pleasure to have her as an actual guest today. Cassie has many feathers under her belt, airbrush specialist, flower designer, published author of 3 books I saw, which you've got one of, haven't you, Bronya?
I have got one, yes.
An online teacher, and has also judged at Cake International and other cake competitions around the world. Cassie, hello, and thank you so much for talking to us today.
Hello, and thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You've been on our hit list for a very long time.
Yeah, you
We've
have.
been talking a while, haven't we? And it's just never happened. So,
Yeah.
lovely to be here at long last.
Oh, thank you so much. I love your work as well. It's so your flowers and your airbrushing is just phenomenal. So you've been making sugar flowers for a long time. When was your first experience, and what made you fall in love with making flowers?
Oh, wow. My auntie, I used to go to my auntie's. She had her own catering business up in Wales. So I used to spend the summer holidays with her. And I used to love, she got me into carving vegetables. And out of carrots and everything, so I can do all that, make the flowers out of vegetables. It used to make me disappear for hours, kept me quiet, is the word probably.
I can imagine.
And I loved it, but she could see that I'd got a talent in doing this. So then she said, do you know what, let's go down to the local British Sugarcraft Guild. They've got a demonstration tonight. There's a lady making an orchid. I went along and I was glued. I was fascinated that this ball of sugar turned into a beautiful orchid. So the lady had had a little shop. I brought the cutters. It was I think it was a Catalina orchid. So I brought the cutters. I went home. I used my auntie's chopping board and a rolling pin, so you can imagine what it looked like. It was horrendous. But I was so pleased with it, and her reaction and other people's reaction was like, wow, that's amazing, you've done that. And I think that really spurred me on and thought, do you know what, I really enjoy this and I want to learn more. So then when I came home, I found the local guild. Do you know Tomby Peck? Can you remember her?
I recognise the name.
Yeah. She was Sugarcraft Guild, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. Unfortunately, she passed away last year. But she was a huge inspiration, and she helped me a lot. She used to come and collect me and take me to shows, and she really encouraged me.
How wonderful.
So lovely. And I remember seeing Alan Dunn at one of his first demonstrations.
Wow.
Yeah, because he's a little bit older than me, so I think he was 18 and I was, 15 or something. Yeah, so it was quite good, quite lovely. So
when you say you were 15, so you've been doing this quite a while then. It started in childhood as such. It's not something that you've come to later on, like a lot of people do.
No. It's I'm trying to remember now. It was in Leamington Spa was my first guild that I joined, and a lady used to come and get me. She used to travel 5 miles to come and get me, to take me to the guild, to then take me home and then come back. So pure dedication by the guild, and that's why I support them so much, because they helped me so much when I was younger. But they encouraged me to enter my first competition. I think I was about 13 or 14, and I did a horrendous cake. Oh my God. Thank God.
You were 14.
Well, I got bronze, which is amazing. But
it wasn't that horrendous then.
It was. It was a Halloween cake. So it was obviously a teenage section that I entered. But I didn't know anything about roll-out icing. I didn't know how to ice a cake. So I just messed around playing. I made these lovely pumpkins and ghosts and things to go on it. But the cake, if you can imagine a Victoria sponge cake with runny icing tipped over the top. Thank God it was a Halloween cake, because it looked horrendous, the covering. But I didn't know any better, so I just think, well, And it got me bronze, but that also inspired me to enter more competitions and get more involved, which was great.
Yeah. So you do your sugar flowers and your airbrushing. Do you make cakes as well?
I used to. So
Right, okay.
Bizarre. My in fact, I've been to see my accountant today, and we were talking about how much my business has evolved through the years. So I did cake decorating. How can I say it? Yeah, so I loved doing wedding cakes. That was my thing. I used to love it.
Right. Yeah.
But as you know, sometimes you can't have full reign and full expression of what you want to do. And then okay, so let me skip back a bit. At the age of 16, Tom B encouraged me to go to the British Sugarcraft Guild.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Sugarcraft Guild, and she said to me, "We want you to be a demonstrator." So I remember going down to with Elaine McGregor, and there was quite a few well-known cake people in the time. And I did day 1, and that was okay. Day 2, they said, now we're going to film you and we're going to help you. And, you could be demonstrating in front of 30, 40 people. Well, at the age of 16, that's death. So I thought, this isn't for me. I'm never doing it ever again. And then I left for a couple of years because that really did scare me off.
Yeah.
But then started doing the cake decorating and got more involved with it. So kind of evolved then.
Right.
And I had my cake business when I had my first daughter, 2000, I have to think. How old is she?
Yeah.
So that's when I got really involved. You know what it's like. You do them for friends and family, don't you? And that goes on forever. But I started my proper business in 2000 when I had her, and then progressed on and did lots of cakes.
Do you still make cakes?
No. Customers scare me.
Yeah.
I can see that, yeah. And I think the longer you do it, the scarier they get as well, don't they?
Yeah, and I'm a people pleaser, which isn't good.
Right.
Because I used to get really involved with the wedding. It would be, so I wanted to know your flowers you were having, who's doing what, everything. I used to turn up to the venues. I'd be getting the venue to change tablecloths because the tablecloths were dirty, the glasses were dirty. It wasn't laid correctly. Because it's their big day, and I used to kind of get too involved. So hence I do kind of miss it a little bit. I miss being part of that buzz. But I didn't sleep the night before the wedding because I was panicked that everything had to be perfect. Taking the cake to the venue was horrendous. Honestly, I just can't cope with that anymore, which is awful.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
I totally understand.
Because I've been doing this for like 15 odd years, and I think in the early days, it's naivety that you kind of go, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. And then the more things that you see and the more things that go wrong, you get scareder and scareder. So now wedding cakes terrify me. Yeah. Whereas, my first wedding cake, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. It's not a problem. But now you see the dangers coming, and it's pure naivety.
Yeah. I still see brides that I did cakes for like 20, 30 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, that's lovely.
I remember you did my cake and that. When they look at you and you think, why are you looking at me like that? That's lovely. But then in 2010, probably rewind a little bit. 2005, I started working for Gem Cutters, just at the NEC on their stand, just making a few things and selling their products. I enjoyed that. Then 2010, I had my first stand at the NEC and launched my first book. Yeah, that's going back a bit, isn't it? 2004 was a collaboration with the British Sugarcraft Guild, which I think is the first collaboration ever done. But I'm not
really
100% sure on that. But I think,
No, well, let's
that's 2004. That's 20 years ago.
I know.
Yeah,
it's just. I mean, in my head, it's like that's like yesterday. That's like 5 years ago now. But when you actually, gosh, okay.
So everything that you've learned it's all been through like the British Sugarcraft Guild. You've not been to college or university or anything like that.
Okay, I'll rewind a bit more. I'm dyslexic, very badly dyslexic, number dyslexic as well, and memory and retention and all sorts. So when I was 12, they did a test on me and they said, you can't go into mainstream school. So you've got to go to a special school. So I went to a special school for 2-3 years. I loved it. I've got to say, best years of my life. Amazing. I used to love it. And everyone there had different needs. There was autistic people, Down syndrome. Some people were in wheelchairs. Some people couldn't hear. Some people were deaf. But the school was really good at sharing, and we all looked after each other. We supported each other, which was lovely. So that was really nice. But then at the age of 15, they said, you've got to go because you're too clever for this school and you need to be doing GCSEs. And obviously I didn't want to go anywhere. No.
It's a nice school.
And this was in Leamington. But then they said to me, okay, we know that you're good at cake decorating, because back then I used to do the retirement cakes, the birthday cakes for the teachers.
Excellent.
Yeah, so they turned around and said, okay, we will give you day release every Friday to go to college at Stratford to do your City and Guilds and Sugarcraft if you promise to go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But they blackmailed me, really.
Yeah,
but that's a good blackmail, isn't it? Let's face it, that's a good one.
And it worked. It did work. I went and did my GCSEs, and yes, now I've got GCSEs, but under protest.
But you got your City and Guilds in Sugarcraft as well, and I mean that's incredible.
Yeah, and again, really lucky because I couldn't drive. I'm only 15, so one of the other ladies used to come and collect me, and then drive me to Stratford. Wow! So and in fact, it's lovely. I still see one of the ladies from the course come to the NEC, which is really nice.
That's fantastic. Do they even do City and Guilds in Sugarcraft anymore? Is that even a thing anymore?
Do you know, I don't know. I think it changed to ABC or something. There was a change, but back when I did it, my teacher didn't like sugar flowers, and that was my speciality. Was sugar flowers. I loved that, but he taught me royal icing and everything I need to know about royal icing, which isn't my thing. You know,
it's not mine either.
It's not my thing.
I suppose it's one of those. But I mean, it's kind of education nowadays. We've got a college down the road from us called Nescott, which is like a further education thing, and they do everything from hair and beauty and all this. There's no cake decorating. I don't know if it's like even something that they do anymore, which is so sad because it's like we're all expected to just learn ourselves now and find our own courses. And whereas I think it's very rare that a 15, 16-year-old is exposed to that to decide.
I did City and Guilds catering, so I learned how to be a wine waiter and a cook and do a pastry chef. But now, looking back, if they'd have done just pastry for me or sugar flowers, I think that's the path I would have gone.
It's very different, I think. And this is where I can say I am where I am now because I was lucky to have the history I've had, really. Very, very lucky.
But it also sets it up for you in your head that this is your profession. Because I find we talk to a lot of people and a lot of cake makers, and they've all come to it late and they don't see themselves as taught as such. And so it's a different mindset. You know, you've been to college and you've learnt this at college. Do you know what I mean?
I disagree.
You know what I mean? Oh, do you?
Yeah, I still don't think I'm good enough. I still, no.
I admire your work. It's so stunning, and your flowers. They're not they're like mediocre flowers. They're all so beautiful and exotic.
I still don't think I'm there yet, which is bizarre, isn't it? So it's very really whoever you talk to, but no, I'm still run of the mill, not there yet. And I don't know where I'm going. And isn't it bizarre? When I was younger, yes, I wanted to be a cake decorator, and I'll go back again. When I did my, the work experience, they used to send. They put me at Elizabeth the Chef's bakery, so I was putting cherries on Bakewell tarts.
Excellent.
This is the type of thing I want to do. And then they put me in the cake decorating room for a day, and that was just throwing the nuts at the side of the cakes. I was like, no, and this isn't what I want to do. But it's because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what my path looked like. I just knew that wasn't the path I wanted to take.
That's not what your path looked like. And
even now I'm still there. I still don't know what my future's holding. But I know what I want to do, if that makes sense. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Right.
Sorry, it's your turn, Bronya.
No, you carry on. Carry on.
So you've done the sugar flowers. So, and then now you also do airbrushing. So, how did you discover your love of airbrushing?
Right. Oh, that's again a strange story. These things just happen, don't they? You're in the right place at the right time. So, when I started, in between the bit where I worked for Gem Cutters and I got my own stand at the NEC, I worked for a few different people at the NEC, and I went around demonstrating on their stands. I can't. This is awful. I can't remember the name of the company, but they used to sell sugar paste.
I was gonna. I've got Chesco.
Yeah,
no, it's not that company.
Before that, I'm going further. I used to work for this company who sold sugar paste, and I was making swans out of this sugar paste and using these little tweezer scissors. You may have seen them.
I've watched a tutorial of you doing it on YouTube.
That is still the most popular one. And how many years old is that?
Isn't that funny?
You must have been. I had to look up how old YouTube was because you were right at the very beginning doing all your videos back then, but way before any of us thought of them.
It just goes to show, though, that the classics and the basics are still the classics and the basics, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They are. Yeah, it's bizarre. That's one of the popular ones. But so I was making these scissors, and then somebody kept saying, "Where'd you get your scissors from?" I said, "I actually won them in a competition. It was the prize money, if you like, was these scissors, and I didn't know who sold them." And then one of my customers came up to me and she said, "I found someone, Shedstow, round the corner from you. They're selling the scissors." So I went round. I spoke to them. Ray, who works for them, he went, "Yeah, just send them round, and we'll sell them." Great, done. So everyone, I was saying, "Pop round the corner. Ray will see you and he'll sell you the scissors." At the end of the show, I said to him, "How did you do?" He said, "Oh, dreadful." I said, "Oh, really?" I sent loads of people around. He said, "I know." He said, "But they're all buying one pair of scissors." He said, "They never normally sell, and we only sell like 10 or 20 pairs." He said, "We've sold over 100, and now I've got to go back and post them all out to everyone." So he wasn't
because he didn't have the stock. Oh, how funny. Yeah, but that goes to show what a good ambassador does for a product as well, isn't it? You know?
So, and then sort of fast forward, so that was 1 year, and then the year after I had my own stand, and Shedstow came up to me and said, "Oh, have you ever thought about airbrushing?" No, not really. It's one of them. And Pam Wakefield at the time used to work for them selling the Badger airbrush. She was wanting to retire, so she said, "Come and spend the day with me. I'll train you up on a Badger airbrush, and then we'll take it from there." So yeah, okay, fine. Spent the day with her. Yeah, it was great. Loved it. Yes, this is for me. Come home, got in the house. Oh my God, how do I do this? What am I doing? Because now, I haven't got anyone standing next to me. I didn't feel comfortable with the machine because it was a £500 machine back then. So an expensive piece of kit.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to be clever and I mixed a bit of powder with alcohol and put it through and it blocked it. And it was just a nightmare. Never doing that again.
Because they're temperamental little things, aren't they? Let's face it.
They are. So then a couple of years later, I always say I was lucky enough to fall pregnant with Harry, or Sam, I can't remember, one of my kids.
No, it's Harry.
Was it Harry?
Yeah, because
I fell pregnant. That kind of got me out of that hole because I was like, I can't do it now. I'm pregnant. What a shame. And then they came back to me and said, "Try this one, this little one. It's very different to the Badger. It's only like £120 back then. Have a go and see what you think." So I just played. No one was telling me what to do. I just messed around with it and scribbled and treated it more as like a pen, and actually fell in love with it. And that's where that story began. Then we went on to QVC, and then we went on to Ideal World and Creating Craft TV. And then that all evolved. And then we were the first people in the cake world to sell the airbrush, the colours, the DVD, the full kit. We were the first people to do that, which is lovely because now there's loads of people doing it.
Yeah.
So actually we were the first.
Yeah, that is good. See, because I did technical drawing A-level. When I was younger, I did technical drawing A-level. And my husband did, who's 3 years older than me, and he had an airbrush for his technical drawing.
Oh, lovely.
And so I'd had like a play on it when I was younger for his technical drawing. And then it was like much, much later on, they went, "Well, you can airbrush on cake." I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" What can I? And then, so that kind of, I got like a really cheap one and then got some cheap colours and things like that. But once you get going, it's just like, it's
I
like
love it.
yeah.
I love my airbrush.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's your son, isn't it, that helps you on your stand.
It
Yes,
is.
we chatted to him, didn't we? Yeah.
Because he showed me some techniques, and that he was just so good at it, so calm. Yeah, you just do it like this, do it like that. Yeah. How lovely that your son is helping you as well.
Yeah, well, to be fair, all of them do, but they're all different characters. So my daughter comes along. I can't remember what day she was working because she's a journalist, but so she popped along on the Saturday and Sunday to help me. Sam is a bit antisocial. He doesn't like people, so he comes and helps me on setup day.
I get that.
And doing all that. Yeah, that's him. And then Harry is the one that's with me all the time. And when I go to demonstrations, he's with me quite a lot as well.
Yeah,
excellent. So airbrushing is from what I see now, airbrushing is like it looks like it's your main like focus. Do you still make your flowers, and do you do them both? Or
yeah, I like them both. And this is my biggest. How can I say this? I'm torn because I love both of them. So I will sit down going, right, I want to be creative. What do I want to do today? Because I don't actually know. Because I want to do airbrushing, I want to do flowers, and I do make the flowers and then airbrush them because you can do that.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like doing one more than the other, and it totally depends on how I feel on that day. So it's really
in terms of business, is one of them better for business than the other, or are they like equal like revenue streams for you? Or
I would say equal, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I think equal. I still get people wanting to learn the flowers, and my book, The Cubic Flowers, goes really well. And in fact, I looked on Amazon the other day and I've got like so many 5-star reviews. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. When I looked on there, when it first comes out and you're all excited about it, there was like 17 5-star reviews. Now there's over like 200 and something. So
wow, gosh,
which is lovely.
So it's quite interesting because we all talk about like choosing your niche and choosing your thing, but it's almost like you've got your two niches and you're not going to give one up for the other because they're both like
you enjoy both.
Yeah. I think, and that's why I love sugarcraft and cake decorating and other crafts as well. There's so many different things you can do. So you could go to, the rice paper flowers, which are quite big at the moment. Yeah. You can get into the gelatine flowers. You can get into the royal icing, the modelling, all these different things come under one umbrella. I do find that people kind of lean towards what they want to do, what they're good at and what they get their kick out of. Yeah. And with me, it just happens to be those two things. I hate icing cakes. Isn't it awful?
Whereas some people have made tools and a whole business about icing their cake.
Exactly. Everyone needs them. I need them.
Well, it's good that you've got them because then you can be you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm always after the next gadget to ice a cake perfectly. Get me a robot. I'm into it. And it's the one thing, that puts me under pressure sometimes doing the videos and doing things is that people put you on a pedestal and I'm not on that pedestal. So they think I'm going to have a perfectly iced cake and it's not a perfectly iced cake. Why are they doing it? It's like, no. Yeah, it's difficult.
But that's why we have flowers to cover up the mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. Airbrushing covers up so much.
Yeah. It does. I love it. What is your favourite airbrush to use?
Oh, I can never diss the little one, the Cassie Brown one, which is now Shedstow. So it's under Spraycraft again, which was its original label really before I came along. So the Spraycraft.
I think that was my first one actually. That was my first.
Is that the one you had at the shop?
Yeah, it was a Spraycraft.
Yeah, I loved that one. Yeah.
And so that's the lovely one. It's a simple one. And I do say if you've got kids, let them have a play because when you see them working on it, you'll actually, I didn't think about doing that. Oh, that's amazing. Because they take the fear factor away. We're scared of it as they're not. To them, it's a pen that does stuff. So that's really good. I use a lot of Iwata. And I don't know if you know that Iwata and Sparmax is the same company. But Sparmax is food grade tested. So that's why I sell Sparmax when I'm at the cake shows because they're food grade tested. But I also sell Iwata. which I personally think is the biggest and best brand in the world. And wherever I go in the world, I tend to use Iwata. Yeah.
So are they, it's, because I know that my one, it was like a little square with like a little dial on it that had obviously the airbrush attached to it. The Iwata, that's like a big compressor, isn't it? That's like a separate compressor and everything, isn't it? Or is it?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
A lot of people get confused because they think an airbrush is the full set with the compressor as well. No, it's very, very different.
Right.
So for me, get yourself a decent compressor, whatever size you want, but as long as it blows 30 psi. So psi is the pressure that's coming out of there. So make sure you've got at least 30 psi.
Right.
You don't want anything higher, really, because unless you're doing the garden fence or the walls, it's possible.
Or the car, yeah.
It's possible. So look into that. But a good quality airbrush will fit onto any compressor as long as you've got attachments. So I have, I've got an Iwata compressor. I've got say the word. Sparmax compressor, and I'm constantly swapping and changing. So I've got. Did I show you at the show my like £600 airbrush?
Yes,
yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's so nice. But that's just an airbrush. That's not the compressor.
Yeah.
That's not
Yes, it was just
the
the brush unit with bit like the pen, wasn't it? Yeah.
That is the airbrush. So as long as you have a good quality airbrush, it can fit on any compressor, and that's why I do sell them separately as well. But when I do sell them, I make sure I ask what kind of hose you've got and make sure all the fittings are right. So swap and match them. I have one compressor and, oh God, I didn't tell you how many airbrushes. I think I've got about 15. Quite a few.
Yeah, but you're the expert in it, so you need to have lots.
Well, I've got 2 compressors and I think I've got about 3 airbrush heads now.
Yeah, that's good. And you always need a spare. That's what I say to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than halfway through a cake and something happens and it all goes badly.
Yeah, well, silly things like if the needle's bent, then sometimes it'll spit at you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was just going to ask you, my airbrush keeps spitting at me.
Try that. So unscrew the back, pull the needle out. Now just rub it across the back of your hand. And if it's like a little cat scratch, because you can't always see it with the naked eye, then your needle's bent. Now, yes, you can buy a new needle, but I personally will get a bit of sandpaper and just smooth it out and then make the scratch disappear and then put it back in. It's fine. So there's lots of little hints and tips. You don't need to keep buying all these things. Once you have one good quality thing, then it'll last. It will really last.
Perfect. I love that. I've written it down.
Don't tell anyone.
Sorry, I've lost my drift because I'm enjoying this. So, do you teach one-to-one, or do you? Because I know you sell your classes, or you do online classes, don't you? That you can buy.
I do, yeah, but I do like one-to-ones, in particular with the airbrushing, because I like you to use your airbrush. I like to see what you're doing, because normally it's either the airbrush that isn't working right. No, it's one of my big pet hates, actually, because I'll tell people to bring their own airbrush and people, I'm rubbish at this, look, and they do it. And it's not because they're rubbish, it's because there's something wrong with the airbrush. It needs fixing. There's just something basic that's wrong with it. As soon as we fix that problem, then off we go again. And it's fine. So I do prefer in person, to be honest. Online's lovely, but in person for me is my preferred choice. And I still travel all over doing that.
Yeah.
So do you do like group classes, or is it one-to-ones, or what would you prefer?
I do everything and anything. Isn't that awful? Right. But I do limit it. So I limit it so that I only like travel away sort of once or twice a month. So I'm trying to be
wow, you're really busy with it then.
Yeah, I love it. It's good fun.
Where are you next?
I don't actually know. How bad is this? I literally only look like I'm only in January. I can't go too far in advance because otherwise I forget about it now and I'm living there. So I try and be a bit careful. But I go before lockdown. I was going to Australia twice a year, which was lovely. I loved it, and it's So I remember Elaine McGregor. Now she's the lady that brought sugar paste to this country from Australia many, many moons ago. And that was my sort of inspiration. I always wanted to travel to Australia. That was my big thing. And in 2014, I did my first trip. And then, love it. Go back there all the time.
Would you would carry on travelling abroad and teaching abroad if you have, if you're
it's lovely. And they look after you so well. I mean, me and my kids laugh about this. You tell them not to talk to strangers and not to, talk to people on the internet you don't know.
Yeah.
I do all the time. The first time I ever went to Australia, a lady picked me up from the airport. I'd never met her before in my life. I hadn't even spoke to her on the phone. Yes, we emailed. That was it. So after emailing this person, I'm now doing a 24-hour flight and living in her home for 3 weeks.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
So, it's bizarre, isn't it? The things we do. Yeah. But I can say that's one thing that the cake world has got. We all look after each other, and it's really
we do. Yeah.
It's a good community, actually, isn't it? It is a good community.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are in our cake group. Yeah. That I've been chatting with them today, talking about Cake International for this year.
Yeah, lovely. And it's so nice. You go over there and you get such a lovely welcome. But I'll tell you a little embarrassing thing. Is when I went over for the first time and I stayed with a lady called, I can't think of her name now. Marion. I can't think of her name. That's embarrassing. But I went over, didn't know who she was. Didn't know that she was very famous in her country, and she'd wrote several books. And I was saying, I'm thinking about writing my end of the book, and with a publisher, you can do it different ways. You can either do it so you have a one-off payment, or you do royalties. So she was saying do royalties because she was in her 70s and she still gets royalties now from the books that she wrote in the past.
Wow.
And then I was very embarrassed when she started bringing her books out there. I was like, I've got that. Oh my God. I've been living in her house for about 4 days.
And little did you know, you've actually been living with her for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So it's all right. I've just noticed that the question I've spoken about. I have watched you lots on YouTube.
Oh, no.
Sammie loves a YouTube video.
Yeah. And I really like to research our guests. Yeah. So I really went deep into Cassie Brown, and some of them. I'm repeating myself now. Some of them from 2011. You were doing it long before most of us caught on. Mm. What is your favourite thing to teach, though?
On YouTube or?
In anything, like if you've got to do a talk with anybody, or if you're on YouTube, or do you have a particular favourite?
Yeah, it's bizarre. It was one of my first demonstrations was the swans and sea holly.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's because I entered a competition many moons ago, and this is what got me best in show. I did the sea holly, but I did it I did a huge sea holly. It was like this big. And no one was doing cutters or veiners or anything back then. Sounds so old, don't I? Dreadful.
And now you get everything.
And I did this huge, because I did a bit of work at Land Rover. So I got this huge spring out of a Land Rover, sprayed it black, and then did this massive sea holly and all this stuff coming out of it, and it looked like an underwater scene. And I got best in show for that, which was amazing. First time I ever got best in show.
Wow.
But because of that, I think I still love my swans and sea holly.
Yeah.
And still to this day, and I've been doing it. When did I come up with that? Well over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably 30 years ago. But people still go, wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Isn't that amazing?
Don't you make that look simple? You know what I mean? You get all the... Swans and sea holly are still my favourite go-tos.
I really enjoyed your succulents video as well, because I've been a bit stuck. I've got this cake design in my head, and I know it's going to look lovely, but I just couldn't get past the bit that I wanted. And I watched the succulents video, and I've gone, oh, that is it. That is what I need to do on it. So,
there's a few on there. The trailing one's really nice, and people don't realise.
Oh, beautiful. And so easy to do as well.
Yeah, and I think because I've been doing it so long, I do like going back to basics. I do like
Right.
saying, do you know what? You don't need all these veiners and cutters and tools, and let's just go back to basics.
We do like to say that, don't we?
We talk about that a lot. Is that you don't,
everything.
don't spend all your money on all the things, because you may only need them once or twice, and then it just sits in your kit bag. It's like, learn to do things a different way. And, you know, going back to basics, it's the best way to save you money and make you more money when you're making the cakes.
Yeah, I mean, my logo many, many moons ago, and it still is really, I just don't use it as much, is 3 things. So only buy something if you can think of 3 things to use it for. And that's what I always say with all my products.
Exactly.
We've got at least 3 uses, if not more.
Right, so I have your... Are you right there, Sammie?
Yeah, I'm just knocking things off. There we go.
So I've got your Kew Gardens Flowers book, which my mother-in-law, who was a very keen gardener, bought for me, and she loved buying it for me. How did you get involved with Kew Gardens, and would you work with anyone, like, would you do a collaboration like that again?
Oh, you see, now this is going to sound really boring. It was all from my publisher.
Oh, okay. No, not at all.
To this day, I've never been to Kew Gardens.
Really?
Have you not?
No, and I really want to go. And in fact,
you should. It's so lovely.
You must.
I'd love it, and I think it's one of those I'd need to go and spend a weekend down there or something, because I'd be lost.
Yeah, definitely, because there's so much there.
Yeah, and for Christmas this year, well, for my birthday, November, but we only just went just before Christmas to the Botanical Gardens in Birmingham.
I didn't know there was one there.
Yeah, and there was, and it was a candlelit orchestra, and it was actually beautiful. It was really, really lovely, and I loved it. And again, it's like, we've got to get to Kew. We've got to get to Kew. I keep saying it, and I'm still not there.
The last time I went to Kew, I went with Sammie for her birthday.
Lovely.
We spent the day
and
together.
It was so lovely. It was so lovely, and there was so much more there than I thought was there, because there was lots of art there as well, botanical art and everything. It was just such a lovely day.
So
when you worked with Kew, did you work with Kew, or did they just, was it just like a name that was put to it, or did you actually have contact with anyone there?
No, so I came up with the ideas. They okayed it. Then I did it, and I think they proofread it. You know, it got the okay from them, because obviously they're putting their name on it. It has to be good. So that's it. A bit boring, isn't it, really?
I mean, because it's a beautiful book. It really is lovely.
It's one of my favourites on the shelf. Yeah, and it's like, it's got a beautiful feel to it as well, because it's like really lovely colours, and I mean, my mother-in-law, who was a very keen gardener and artist, she loved it. You know, she absolutely loved it. She has no interest in sugarcraft at all. So.
That's nice, and that's what we wanted it. We wanted it to be a kind of table book as well, so people can just have a look at it and go, that's nice, as well as, wow, I can learn something from this. But it's nice to read some of the reviews, because everyone said that it's broke down so nicely. And I loved the I can't remember what that's called now, like the flower burst. So when you open it, before you get to make the flower, you see all the segments that you need to make that flower. And I really enjoyed doing that. That was one of my favourite things. It was great.
So you would do something like that again, I guess?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I'm looking now. So I've got to be honest, I've had a few years off, where I've kind of gone a bit quiet, because my son's been really ill and there's been lots going on in home life. And I honestly feel like this year, I've got to get back to it now. So I'm kind of giving myself a kick and saying, come on, I've got to and you'll see on YouTube, it's been sort of quiet. So now I've got to get back to it and get back out
2024 is your year.
Yeah, get back out there and show people what I can do again, because I've got so many ideas buzzing through my head that I want to get on and do. I've got to crack on.
So where can we find you on social media or your website, that sort of thing? So
YouTube, this is going to sound awful, but if you Google Cassie Brown, you get up with lots of women in bikinis. They're not
yes, you do.
They're not me. It's really funny, because my kids will go, look. So that's not me. But because I've been on YouTube for so long, I've got that handle. So at Cassie Brown, you'll get to YouTube.
Excellent.
But Instagram and Facebook, it's at Cassie Brown Cake.
Yeah.
So that's where you'll find me. And then my website is Cassie Brown, just nice and simple. It started off a passion for cakes many, many moons ago when that was my cake business.
Yeah.
And then that kind of got lost because people were asking for Cassie Brown, not passion for cakes. So then that kind of took a back seat and now it's me.
You've got quite a big following on Facebook as well, haven't you?
There's not millions. I don't think so.
Oh, no, I think that's quite a lot. I think it was 11,000, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going in to have a look now. I'm sure it was.
You're so blasé. Oh, I don't know. Well, whatever. It's not a lot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Peanuts.
11k followers.
Well, it's not millions, is it?
Oh, it's still quite a few, isn't it?
I think that's something to be
Imagine
proud of.
11,000 people stood in your front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think I've got 33.
1,000. Million.
No, 33.
Yeah, I suppose over the years it's just crept up gradually, and I'm really bad because I'm bad at social media.
Right.
It's something I'm not good at, and it is one of my things that I really need to push myself on this year. And I am going to do, in fact, I was going to do it before I came on.
You and us, all of us together.
All three of us. Yeah. We're doing a month-long challenge of posting every day.
We're doing really badly.
I haven't posted at all yet.
Well, I was going to do 60 seconds every day through January. I've done nothing yet. We're already halfway through the month, aren't we? Where's it gone? How did that happen?
Yeah.
We had a challenge and we're like, we're trying.
It's not the end of the week. It's not the end of the first week yet.
No, we are trying. We are trying very hard, but
I mean, I don't know if you feel this, but I find it quite hard to shout about myself.
Yeah.
If you want, know, if shout about you, great, no problem, and I can shout about other people. And but when it comes down to, hey, look at me, I'm here. That scares me to death.
Well, you know what? Awful. Your work is so beautiful. You should be really proud.
You should shout.
Yeah,
but I know how hard it is. I used to have a shop, and this is how Sammie and I met because Sammie was my head baker. And when I had the shop, it was like a separate entity because I had staff and they were all making the shop work, and I could talk about the shop really easily.
Yeah.
But now I don't have that shop. I can't. Talking about my business is quite hard because it's just me in my business. Whereas before it was all of them that I was proud of and I could shout about them and it was amazing. And now it's just me. It's like so much harder to do it.
That's exactly where I am. It's
and
yes, I can get excited about my work and I'm doing this today.
Yeah.
It's incredibly hard. It's one of my challenges.
Oh, I'm glad it's not just us.
Yeah.
Because we see all these amazing cake makers out there and cake decorators and cake artists, and we all have a different idea for us what you're all like. But you know, when so many people we talk to go, no, I'm just little old me and I've struggled the same as everyone else.
Do you know what was really funny today? I said to my son, right, because they're all in the house, be quiet because I'm doing this podcast. So be quiet. And he's going, you're doing a podcast.
Rude.
Thanks, mate.
Rude.
It's the same at the NEC. When they come and do the NEC with me, they think it's bizarre that people come up to me and want photographs taken with me. They're like, why?
It's because you're just their mum.
Yeah. Exactly. So it is really bizarre. And I always remember going shopping in Worcester because I live in Worcestershire. And I was in the lift going to the car park and this chap kept looking at me really weird. And you think, oh, stalker vibes, what's happening? Yeah. And the lift opened and then he said, I'm really sorry for staring, but are you Cassie Brown? Yeah. And this was when I was doing the TV work as well with Crank TV. Oh, my wife's a huge fan. And the kids are all looking like, what? It was the funniest thing.
Oh, we don't know how famous you are. You just don't know how famous you are. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're not famous, are you? Do you know what I mean? I know. It's weird. It's bizarre. We're all, I think we're all equal. We're all, it's just some of us have more passion than others. Do you know what I mean? It's just we all do stuff. It's, bizarre.
And some people can put themselves out there with very little talent and you wonder how that happens. But Their talent is putting themselves out there, isn't it? So.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly. They're good at screaming.
Well, Cassie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes.
We have had a lovely chat, thoroughly enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing what you have to do in 2024. Sounds like quite
and hopefully we'll get to see you at Cake International in November this year.
Yes.
If you're going again.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Nothing's been planned yet, but I'm going to see how it pans out. I've got to, like I said, get back to YouTube, and I want to start doing lives on YouTube again. Well, I say again, I've never done a live on YouTube, but I did lives during lockdown on Facebook, and they went really well. So yeah, I've got to push that live.
I'd be interested.
So watch this space, Cassie, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming to talk to us. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cassie Brown is lovely.
She's so humble.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't...
And she's so gentle as well.
Yes.
And
I think I would like to be taught by her, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you should watch some of her videos. They're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. Really, really lovely. And I noticed, actually, that she has just done a thing. I saw it today on Facebook. She did something for the British Sugarcraft Guild last night, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to go along as a guest, because you can do that with the British Sugarcraft Guild.
Yes. Yeah.
Pay a little bit more and come as a guest. But yeah, I think she's lovely.
She was lovely, and she's what I can relate to is, and I think probably a lot of our listeners will relate to, is that we've kind of not put her on a pedestal, but it's like, oh my God, it's Cassie Brown. She's amazing. And she's like, I'm just me. I don't really know. I'm just trundling along, doing my thing. And I think
she's
that
really good at it.
Yeah. But and I think a lot of us all sit there and go, yeah, but I'm not that great. It's just me. And other people are going, but you're amazing. Why are you not shouting about yourself?
Yeah.
And I think we can all relate to that, because, she's just a human. She is. So she has been very, very generous to you, our listener. And she has offered our listeners, you, our listener, 20% off her online classes.
Yeah. And they're really good.
Really, really good. So you need to use the code CBCAKE, that's CBCAKE 20. So CBCAKE 20. And that will give you 20% off Cassie Brown's online classes.
That's pretty good.
It's just so lovely of her, isn't it?
Yeah. And her classes aren't megabucks either.
No, they're not. You're not going to be put by the price of it. Yeah.
No, definitely. I definitely would like to do them, but I'm saving up for my
your trip. But yeah, so if you want to get any of Cassie's online classes, please use the code CBCAKE20 and she will give you 20% off. Enjoy.
Yeah, that is really good. 20% off as well. Sorry, I know you just finished it.
But no, that is quite a bit of money.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, that's like a fifth off. That's quite a big chunk. Yeah. Right, okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Always.
Always. So are you ready for product of the week? That's my whip, actually.
I thought it was a cymbal. No, it's a whip.
Yeah, whip crack away, whip crack away, whip crack away.
Excellent. Who's first?
It's actually, I'm going to make you go first.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I am going to do, it's an unashamed. I'm going to do some self-promotion.
Oh, are you? Good.
Because we don't do that very often on our podcast. I'm going to promote our website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, how does it go? What's the tagline?
Right. So if you listen to the beginning of our podcast, we say it's daisycakecompany.co.uk, which it is, and you will get to our website. But I've recently changed it to daisycakeandco.com.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Do you think we should change our introduction then?
We probably should at some point.
Oh, that's good. Could we?
Yeah.
Oh, we could do so much.
But yeah, so we probably should. But if you use the old one, it will redirect you to our website, because it's the same website. It's just got a different domain name. But I just want to talk about it because it's got so much on it. It's got obviously the podcast player, so it's got everything that we've done. You can go back through the episodes and click on all the podcasts. It's got recipes. It's got blog posts, things that we've chatted about on the podcast. We've written into blog posts. So it's got a whole thing about putting flowers on cakes. That was like an episode in itself. Yeah. So if you haven't got time,
Flowergate.
Yeah. So if you don't have time to re-listen to that, but you want to just double check on some of the things we said, there's a blog post on there that you can have a look at. And there's all sorts of other
downloads.
Well, you can print them off, I guess, because they're like posts. So yeah, you probably could print them off. There's also recipes. The recipes have all got printable recipes, so they've all got recipe cards that you can print. And there's also freebies on there. There's lots of freebies.
That's what I meant as the downloads.
Yeah,
the freebies.
Freebies. So I am going to quickly go onto our website and tell you what you can download for free. So if you go into the search, which is the little magnifying glass, and put in downloadables, click on the downloadables, there is 52 social media prompts. There are these are ones you can buy. So there's 52 social media prompts, which is £5, plus it's got a whole list of other things throughout the year. There is a Notion cake planner template. That's a gobful, isn't it? Where are my freebies? Let's have a look at the freebies. So there are a weekly cake planner, which you can download and print out. There is a little recipe book of 5 cupcakes. And the 52 social media prompts is in the freebies. I don't know why it's in 2 different places. I need to take it off the other place. But yeah, so there are a few freebies, but there's lots on there. There's lots of information on there. Please have a look.
And have a look.
Lots of cake recipes, cookie recipes, cupcake recipes. Just, have a look. daisycakeandco.com. That's my product.
.com away.
Right, what's yours then?
Well, I may have already done this, but I don't think I have.
How many times do we say that?
Yeah. Well, I've got a bit of a cake crush on Natalie Porter, as you well know, and from Immaculate Confections. And today, my product of the week is their flour paste, which is just divine. It's my hands just love it.
Really?
It's suitable for vegetarians, but it does contain egg.
Right.
It colours really well.
Do you use paste colour or did you use dust?
I used both.
Okay.
It's funny, I got loads of her dusts for Christmas as well. So I should imagine they'll be product of the week at some point as well. It colours really well. It's really soft and pliable, and it's got a kind of a matte feel to it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's in my fingers, that's how it feels. It's not shiny in my fingers. It's kind of got a matte, and it's really light as well, like airy light.
Is it does it stay pliable? What was the one Squires turns to like porcelain, doesn't it? And it shatters.
Oh, I don't know actually. My
so as it dries,
it's been made and out the door.
Oh, okay, all right. Because so Squires is like really brittle, and then you've got Robert Haynes, which is really pliable but doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, so you can't use it for competition, can you?
No.
Whereas
I think it's slightly pliable, if I remember rightly. Admiring all Natalie Porter's flowers.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's not it doesn't shatter.
Yeah, which is
But
very
it does go
important when you're
hard.
making flowers
Yeah.
for
I'll have to
weddings
trial
and
run
things.
that actually with my previous product of the week when I actually get around to making my peony.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not sticky. It's really light in weight. You can get a 250 gram pack for £4.95 on their website, or you can get 4 packs, which makes up 1 kilogram. I think it was £16.95 off the top of my head, but I didn't write that down. But the packaging's nice. It's got a resealable top part, which is handy.
Useful, yeah.
And I love it.
Excellent.
That's all I've got to say about that.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes. So there you go.
Perfect.
And I would just like to say that we ask every week for everybody to like, review, subscribe, leave us a review, blah, 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 because you're all amazing. But sorry, Mark's just arrived home with the dog and the dogs are going crazy. So I went on somewhere and looked, and we've had quite a few reviews. And
where did you look? Was it on
Spotify maybe, or Podbean, or somewhere? Look at me, I'm rubbish, aren't I? I'm saying thank you for doing something.
Well, thank you.
I don't really know what it was for, but yeah, thanks.
You read them and you took note of them at the time.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. And keep doing it. Don't ever stop. Don't stop
please.
reviewing now.
Do you know what I said to Jules the other day? Because where I work now, I said, I just don't dance anymore. And he was like, sorry? Because I've never danced professionally as, I dance, I've got a dance degree, but I've never danced actually professionally. And he said, what do you mean you don't dance anymore? I said, when I worked with Sammie, we danced all the time. We sang and we danced all the time.
Yes.
So, and every time you sing to me, it's like it sends me back to dancing in the bakery. Because you never knew the words.
No, I still don't. Right. On that note,
let's go because I can hear Mark.
Yeah, Mr. Boomer. Bye. Love you all.